The permaculture orchard project. This project has been something that my husband and I have been working on all winter long, planning and ordering things for and just kind of trying to figure out. So this project really kicked off on April 6th. This is when my husband rented this earth auger and we started drilling holes to put posts in for the fence. We opted to go with a mixed fence, some posts and some T-posts. So it's going to be mixed here, but we're drilling the holes just for the posts, and this earth auger made a world of difference. We were able to whip out all the fencing in just about 2 or 3 days. Well, maybe a little bit more than that, but it made the process so much easier. So this day was a lot of my husband just drilling, a lot of measuring, making sure everything was to code, everything was far enough away from the road, and we were following all of the county's rules when it came to us putting in a fence. So I definitely would recommend get a hold of someone at the county, make sure that you're on your property and you're following all the rules. We had a lot more strict rules because we are at an intersection than what other people would be. So just make sure that if you're doing something like this, you're making sure that you are all in line, and my husband took care of all of that for us. So on April 8th, we went ahead and started ripping out the chicken run. We needed to rip out the chicken run to be able to put the orchard fencing where it needed to go because it was going to cut through the back half of the chicken run. However, you guys may remember recently we had a massive snowstorm. It took out all the power lines, and not only did it take out the power lines and the trees, but it also did a lot of damage to the chicken run, and it needed to be taken out anyways. My fencing basically all fell apart. All the chicken wire was ripped apart and falling just because the snow was so dense. So it needed to be taken out anyways. So we're ripping out the posts. We're going to have to redo it. But this was something that had to be done so that we could go ahead and finish putting in the posts that we were putting in on the first day and get our T-posts in and everything that we needed to do here. So this was step one, was clearing this out and making sure that everything was taken care of and moved out of the way so that we could finish putting up where the fencing was going to go. This project ended up being unbelievably repetitive because we were just doing the same thing over and over again, but that was actually really good for me personally because that's how I learned the best, is just through repetitive tasks. So I learned so much during this project, and it was really fun to be able to do something side by side with my husband. I absolutely love doing things like this with him. He makes these projects fun because I get to spend time with him and do what he really likes to do, which is like build and create. And I love seeing how his mind works when it comes to problem solving because it is so unbelievably different than how I would approach a task. So I learn so much when I get to do a project like this with him. So all we're doing is putting in these posts, and we're just tamping them down, filling them back in with soil, making sure everything is level. And this took some time, but we basically just did this exact same process over and over and over again. It felt like 100 times, but in reality, I think it was like 20 times. We put these posts in the ground, making sure that everything was level. Now, we did not backfill these holes all the way because on a day that I did not film, Joe and I also came out here and backfilled these holes with concrete, making sure that everything was super stable. We do not want this fence going anywhere. Do it right or do it twice. And that was something that we lived by during this project. If it wasn't level, if it wasn't in line, rip it out and redo it. This is something that we have to look at every day. We really wanted to be proud of this project and take pride in this project. So we tried to move slowly while also being efficient, but making sure that everything was done correctly. We want this to hold the test of time. We do not want to have to redo this. Fencing is honestly our least favorite thing to do. We have to do it quite a lot with the garden and the chicken run and anything else, and we just did not want to have to end up redoing this project because we did it kind of half to our best ability. So we really took our time to make sure that we did this properly. So on the day after this day that you're actually watching, my husband and I went out there, like I said, and backfilled all these holes. I did not film that because it was a very time sensitive thing. It was a quick setting concrete, and we were doing this with our 2 little kids. So between the baby and our toddler and then the quick setting concrete, we really just wanted to get it done and not have to fuddle around with a camera. So that's why I didn't film it, but just know that these holes were backfilled with concrete. They are set. They are not going anywhere. And this is exactly what I mean. We did this process over and over and over again, all through the line of the property here. And it was just a lot of fun to be able to do something like this with him. This was also the day of the eclipse, so it was fun to be able to just kind of be outside and experience something and do something together. And of course the chickens were all about it because all of the fresh dirt, and they were just ripping everything up. They were hanging out behind us because every time we found a grub or a worm, we would throw it to them. So they were just sticking really close by for all of the free snacks. April 13th, my husband came out here with some friends, and he did all of the tension wire for our corners. This is really important to him. He really wanted to make sure that it was on there, and he needed more muscle for that project than what I was able to do. So he did all of the tension wire. And then Joe and I came out this day and put in all the T-posts and all of the supporting poles for our wooden beams here that you guys see. And then we came out here and we put on the gate, and this day we also rolled out all of the wire part of the fencing. I also did not film any of the wire putting up because that was such a process, you guys. I just didn't film it. We had some people helping us that day, and I never like to pull out my camera when we have help because I just think it's rude. Here is a day of planting. This was the day everything went into the orchard. We had 5 people come help us this day, and they helped us plant 30 fruit trees, 20 nitrogen fixers, and over 100 berry plants, you guys. It was so wonderful to have all of that help. They helped us knock all of the planting out in just one day, and if it were just Joe and I, this would have taken us probably 4 days of planting just to get everything in. They helped us measure everything. They helped us cut fabric cloth or landscape cloth for the base of the fruit trees. They helped us tie all of the fruit trees up. We also ended up planting 25 spruce trees here for around the orchard. It was just a lot of work. So heading into day 2 of this weekend, my husband and I started putting all of the wood chips or the mulch around every single tree. This took some time, but it felt like light work after the day of planting, and it was beautiful weather. We had the tractor this day, my brother-in-law let us borrow, so it was actually made very light work compared to all of the work we had been doing with the fencing and planting. So it was actually a nice break. The weather was gorgeous, so it felt like a treat to be able to be outside. So we went ahead and basically put that wood chips around every single tree. We also had put in over 50 trees as a wind block in our yard this same week we were doing the orchard. So it was a lot of planting. So we went ahead and made sure that wood chips were around all of the wind block trees, everything in the orchard. And after we put the wood chips in, I went ahead and went down and made sure that all of the branches were up from underneath the wood chips, that it had a little bit of a slope in the wood chips, so that way when we watered things, that water had somewhere to settle and kind of stay by the roots, which is where we wanted. What I'm going to work on right now is Joe ordered these metal tags off of Amazon. I can link them down below, but he also picked up an engraver. And I'm going to walk around the orchard and start making these tags. It's just like a little pencil right on the name of it, of whatever tree it is or fruit or whatever. And it also came with these little twisty ties, and we're just gonna start twist tying these to the trees. That way if the little tags that we put in blow away or they get misplaced or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. These metal tags are still there on the tree. So that's what we're gonna do, at least right now. Joe's working on putting the rest of the wood chips in between the trees. We definitely do not have enough. We'll get more eventually, but for right now this is what we have, so this is what we're gonna do. Other than that, I think we're pretty much done. Pretty much. We do have the caging that needs to go around every tree, but we'll do that. Joe will probably work on that as I'm doing the tags for these trees, but so far so good. It's been a super productive weekend, and after the weather we had yesterday, I'm super grateful for the weather that we have today. So I'm happy to be doing this in the sunshine and clear skies, really beautiful clouds, and I'm just really excited to be out here getting this done today. So let's whip out some of these tags. This is the full in-depth video for the orchard, kind of start to finish. I will be doing an orchard tour here once everything kind of gets finished off. We still have some steps we want to finish. We're transplanting things in here from other parts of the property. We're going to plant clover in here and all sorts of other things. So make sure you subscribe if you want to follow along on this, and hopefully soon we'll have an orchard tour. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in another one.